Welcome everybody, it's Unstoppable Staletsy and I'm here for yet another Age of Empires 3 Wars of Liberty casting game. So today we got a very special treat. We got ourselves a treaty 20 minutes, 1 versus 1. So 1v1 like we always do, just with the 20-minute treaty added in. So basically what that means is these guys can actually fight or kill each other for like 20 or so minutes. Gives you time to build, gives you time to gather resources, gives you time to send out lots of important cards, just gives you time to plan a strategy. Now for a 40-minute treaty, that's like super duper late game, but for like a 20-minute treaty, you know, you can sort of expect combat in like maybe age 3, 4, 5, the latest, you know. It's not a lot of prep time, but it's certainly some prep time that's gonna avoid most of the usual rush strategies. Right here we got Aladdin as the Romanians, and we got Blackdragon as the Germans. Some two very good civs in terms of their tech capabilities, so this should be a pretty fun treaty situation. Before we get started though, let's take a look at the map. So this map appears to be the Isak High Plains. Notable feature of this map is the big trade route that traverses the entire map, cut in half. It has a whopping 5 trading posts that can lead to some really good gains if you can capture all of the trading posts. But if I recall, since this is the formal treaty mode, you can't actually build these at the start of the game because aren't you kind of limited to where you can construct within the confines of your town center, right? So if you happen to have a native site really close, which I don't think anyone does, sometimes you can do that, but yeah. This map has some decent cavalry natives. It has Comanche as well as Cheyenne, I believe. Yep, Cheyenne and Comanche. So some horse archers and then the legendary Cheyenne lancers. So yeah. This is a really nice, you know, Great Plains, United States style map. Let's begin and see how this one turns out. Alright, so Germany. Germany should have a really fun time doing a treaty game because this means they get all the time they need to construct all of those Mites-Cairn manor houses they need for the free villagers. Yeah. Remember, Germany in Wars of Liberty is the same as the vanilla British. Every time they build one of their houses, they get a free villager. All the 20-minute treaty does is it gives them time to get all the wood they need to get all those houses out, which means no matter what, Aladdin is going to be dealing with a 45 to 50 villager minimum Germany when it's all said and done and the fighting begins. That could be pretty serious, you know, if Aladdin can boom up to the level of Germany. Which, you know, it's going to be a little bit impossible, but you can at least try to get as close as you possibly can. As for Romania, Romania is quite a bit different in how they can handle a treaty 20-minute. The way Romania can play this out is they can get super savvy with how they plan their technologies. And what do I mean by that? So basically, the more technologies you research, the cheaper your next age up is, but aging up cheapens your technologies. Right, and you can access technologies in any age for a more expensive price if they're in an age that they're not normally in, right? So I think, yeah, the only exception is military upgrades. You have to be age 2 or later to get those. Right, you don't want people like having like Imperial Cavalry in age 1 or that. I wish that we could do that because that'd be a funny meme, but unfortunately you can't do that. So yeah, essentially what Romania does in a treaty game like this, researches their technologies in such a way that they can ramp up quicker, or they can get a unit they want quicker than normal, right? So if they just want like maybe 1 or 2 different units, they can stay back in age and focus on villager production. Or if they want to age up quicker and then get the stuff later, they can grab a certain set of technologies that they might possibly want and gather those at the right time to make their age 2 age up cheaper and their age 3 age up cheaper. Possibly even get into the industrial age for a much cheaper price tag. Yeah, and for that reason, sometimes what I do is I'll I'll hold back on certain market as well as my livestock pen or hunting lodge technologies. That way, when I'm reaching more the climax age I want to like stay in for the most part, I can essentially research those once I get to that age up. So, like for instance, I want to do most of my fighting in industrial age. I'll save those techs until I'm ready to go to industrial age, so I can cheapen the cost of industrial age. If I want to go full imperial, maybe save those technologies until the industrial age, so I can make my imperial age cheaper. All stuff that adds to a cumulative benefit, right? Only problem is if you research those technologies, that discount to the age up only applies to that age up, so you won't get to take advantage of that later. It just goes up to the standard cost once again. Then you have to research more checks to make it cheaper if you have any left, right? So it's a big game of cat and mouse and just deciding what you need when and making it work to the best of your ability. That being said, I want to check out the deck of Romania. So deck-wise, they have their gypsy wagons here. They have Usari, which allows your Verdun to make bears. You have Lotari. So in general, this is looking like a very gypsy-centered build. You know, the ability to send constant gypsy wagons, slowly replacing the build limit of the peasants with the gypsies, as well as these cards here, which directly get tied to the Verdun. The ability to make the Verdun, the gypsies gather quicker when they're near their wagons, also makes the villagers stronger. Also the ability to make bears from those gypsy wagons too. So yeah, this is a very gypsy-centric strategy on the economy. In terms of the rest of the text though, we got some eco-techs here. We got Reef Ridge and Royal Mint. We have Rakia Distillery, which is essentially the same as Cigar Roller for the Europeans. So it actually benefits your strawberry crops, which is your coin crop, your coin farm, basically. Lots of upgrades too. We have upgrades for the Vanadur and the Carboneers. These ones affect the Dorabent and the Caloras. This essentially gives you some European arsenal technologies, so a lot of upgrade potential here. Also Monstrous Coalition, so Aladdin can actually access the Guard and Imperial upgrades for the Scytheman, his pikemen, as well as the Hajusi, so it's like crossbowman style skirmisher in the early game. Yeah, lots and lots of improvements here. Certainly. What's this one? Academia Romana. Market, Hunter's Lodge, and Tower House non-level technologies have their coin cost removed. Very interesting. I think, in general, that might be really good for ramping. I've never tried this before, but maybe I can try it in the future to see how it allows me to ramp up the stuff a bit faster. Because potentially what you could do is strip the coin costs on a lot of stuff and get those techs quicker so you can actually get a much faster age up for the one that you want. As for Blackdragon, he's playing again with that 40 card deck that he did in the FFA. Technically, it's a cheap advantage because he's got far more cards in his deck than you're allowed to have. However, as we've seen, he doesn't really pack in the most impactful late game cards, making this not so bad for Aladdin if he plays his cards right. Cards, yeah. It's all how you use your cards, right? And I think here, definitely, for all the cards that Danny packed into his cheat deck here, he probably could have put some eco ones in here. That's probably the area where he's going to suffer the most. Like, he even has Rendering Plant in here. Rendering Plant on a land map. This is cringe, man. 100% cringe, so we should definitely look into doing this a little bit better next time. Definitely. Also a ship. Oh yeah, he's got naval combat, but you can't actually put any ships anywhere, so what's the good, right? Like, is there even any water on this, like, map? I thought there was, like, a geyser somewhere that you could potentially put the... No, there's not even a water geyser anywhere that you can, like, stick the boat on. Oh yes, there is. Look at that geyser over there. Yeah, that's where you can put your boat, I guess. stick it on top of the geyser and it just doesn't go anywhere. It just sits on top of the geyser because technically geysers shoot out water. Funny fact. Germany's also aging up pretty slow, but that could be because they're just trying to get their Mietskern houses up quicker. We could start to see them getting constructed already. Looks like Germany did get the Habrecht plan. The Habrecht plan ensures that these houses are cheaper. They become about 88 wood. Think in terms of the Virginia Company for British. It's the same card, same effect, just under a German name. And the icon of a house on the card. In terms of Romania right now, they're just getting resource crates. Ever since they reimagined the Romanian civ into the new model, this makes a lot of sense to me, because what I used to do during the first iteration of the new modernization bonus for Romania was I used to pack in 2 sets of each of the resource crates and even a food one, and I would get those crates in the hopes that I could research the techs that are available earlier. So yeah, so I could actually get the guard and sometimes even the imperial upgrade on infantry or something way before it's normally allowed. And that could be what Aladin is doing, but instead it looks like he's actually going for a FF with Ion Heladi Radilscu. And this is a politician that I like in particular, because what he does is he gives you crates of food from the livestock pen. He gives you about 700 food. Oh, actually 800 food, right? This is 1, 2, 3, 4. This one being the big crate. Yeah, that's pretty big because, you know, it takes a while to get your crops going as Romania once your hunts run out, right? Because the problem with the nation-state farms is they can normally only have like one or two villagers at the crops at the start. And then as you research more gathering upgrades from the market for the farming, it allows you to put more and more villagers on one crop, so you don't have to keep constructing more crops, saving you on wood costs, pretty much. And I think in this sense, what's pretty normal is to go for hunting lodge and both age for the age 3 age up and the age 4 age up, because also the age 4 age up gives you even more food that you can put towards units and technologies, essentially. It's also important to note that we are in the halfway mark for the treaty, so in about 10 minutes, these players will be allowed to attack each other, since that treaty will expire. All the while, we see Germany constructing more Mietskirns, and they seem to have wood for more, so they should totally be... You know what Germany should be doing here? Every time they get 88 wood, put down a new Mietskirn. They shouldn't be taking this long to do that. Even if you want to do it inefficiently with like one villager, just get the foundations up. Maybe find a villager nearby or two to get those up quickly, because every second you waste not having an additional house is less villager gather, because you're missing out on the potential free villagers you could get by getting them quicker. Yeah, that's one thing that Germany needs to get a little bit quick at doing, because as you can see here, they could probably get like 2 more of the houses up right now, as it is. And yeah, he's not building any over here. I'm just like seeing, is he being efficient with his time? And I think not being as efficient as he could be. You know, Blackdragon could totally be putting some more houses up with all that wood. And I think that's really important, because if you're wasting time with your construction, you're going to lose villager points that's going to give you an edge over Romania. What's the most important thing in a treaty you can do? It's Germany versus Romania. It's your villager numbers. So if you stray for too long from meeting that goal, your whole civ bonus is useless, and Romania has a much easier sweep of you. So what we see here, it's kind of interesting, is engineering school. One thing I don't know 100% is, does the engineering school actually help the krupp factories? That's something I should probably just look at some point. Certainly if he wants to build like a foundry or an artillery depot, which some sources call it, to make some cannons, that might help. So I'm definitely not saying that's a horrible upgrade for here. One more thing two that I'm a little concerned of here is no sending of any of these resource crates, right? Yeah, that would probably be a very good idea. Also, the fact that he's sticking this age up, the city planner, so far into his queue, that's kind of a red flag to me, because I feel like, hey, if you're going to be going for an age up, you should just wipe out all these villagers, get the age up, and then, you know, plan what you're going to do for the next age, right? He's playing super duper duper casually here, and you just can't do that in a treaty. Treaty gives your opponent so much time to plan things, like Romania is, right? They actually went for an FI, so they're already in industrial age. And you know what that means now? That means, yeah, Romania can start to get all their market technologies, right? They're starting to get farmers market, and they're going to get all the market techs now, and by the time they research all of that, their imperial age is going to be like super duper duper cheap. Like, I would say it's probably going to cost, like, maybe even 2,000 food and 2,000 coin or something. Like, you don't know. Like, Romania could, like, max out a bunch of upgrades now to prepare for the end of the treaty. And their imperial age will be a nice shoe-in at that point, right? They're getting carpentry now, which is a wood chopping upgrade, obviously. Probably get the next mining one. Probably get the farming ones, and when it's all said and done, Romania's imperial age is going to be very, very cheap, like super cheap, really, really cheap. Also picking up the Vander combat now to boost up the skirmishers and the light cavalry, so both the Carbonire Dragoon and the Vander skirmisher will be stronger now. This gives Aladin a nice army option right out of the gate. And also something you should note as well is military upgrades have a stronger effect on that age up discount than the economic or civic upgrades do. So I think in general, market upgrades usually only affect, or any like eco upgrades or civil upgrades for buildings only affects the age up discount by like 3 to 5%. Whereas military ones can affect it by up as much as, I believe, 8%. Right, so if Aladin got a bunch of like military upgrades here for the Vantori, the Carbineers, or even some of his other units, that's going to really drop the price of Imperial Age a whole lot. So he might actually even be able to get like an Imperial upgraded unit here if he really works diligently. I don't think he's going to go Imperial Age, but he'll have it in his back pocket, though, for when he fights Blackdragon. Which I think is a really important thing here, for sure. Also, picking up the Caloras attack here, or territorial attack, benefits the Caloras, benefits the Dorbound. The Dorbound being the Musketeer, the Caloras being like the Hussar unit. One thing to know about Caloras is they're sort of like on the weaker side of Cav, so almost like Cossacks. You know, one pop, very low HP in attack, but very swarmable. They're great at like swarming enemies with. And in particular, they get this really nasty card called Juni Brozoveni, and it basically turns your Caloras cavalry into like a virus or something. They have a chance when they defeat another unit to turn it into a Caloras. So if you get really lucky, you could actually leave a battle with more units than when you started. It doesn't usually work like that with the rebalanced numbers. I know when they first released the card and I like play tested it, it was like really bonkers, and I could go in there with like 25 cav, and I came back with like 55 units, and I was like, yeah, they need to fix these numbers, which they did, which was great. Still, I think if I go in with really big numbers and the unit that I'm going after is very favorable, I can come back with larger numbers of cav than when I go in. It's just rarer now. It would be interesting to see if Aladin did something like that here against Germany, taking large numbers of Caloras into his villagers, and coming back with extra cav just by wiping out all those vills around the map, since Germany pops them out so quickly. Yep, again, the Loyal Calorasi upgrade. Also, again, all the arsenal upgrades. The inflammable mixture, which boosts the siege attack of the light cav. Jagged and swords, which boosts the attack of the Caloras. Flintlock holsters, which increases the range of your skirmisher units. hunting knives, which boost the melee attack of your hand infantry as well as your early skirmishers, pretty much picking up the entrepreneurs market. When it's all said and done with all these arsenal technologies, which are cheapening the price of his Imperial Age politicians by 8% each time he researches one, his Imperial Age is going to be really dirt cheap, to the point that it's totally possible Aladdin could be fighting Dragon with units at a whole upgrade level above what he's doing. And that would be a game changer, I think, honestly. Because you gotta research technologies anyways. Why not get something free from it? Like a free age up, you know? It's probably not gonna be free, but it's gonna be close, basically free, right? So yeah. I wonder, I should do a test, maybe, and see if I go to like Industrial Age with like Romania and I research all the technologies, right? How much cheaper does the Imperial Age actually get if I like research all the techs at least up until Industrial Age? Would that actually make my Imperial Age eventually free, or would it be close to free? Very interesting idea. Germany's getting their factories now, and I say that's a pretty good idea. About time to get those at this point. The cool thing about the Germans' version of robber barons is it's called the Stuttgart manufacturing. It gives you the factory wagon, but it also gives you one steel gun, which is your heavy cannon equivalent in Wars of Liberty. So you get a free cannon with the factory wagon. In like non-treaty play, that's much more important, but I think here certainly it's good that Blackdragon will have a cannon to go as soon as the treaty ends in a little over a minute, right? We're at 1 minute in, and then people can start to fight each other. This isn't like a full 40-minute treaty. A full 40-minute treaty would certainly be better, I think, because it would show even more late-gamey tactics, and maybe even Great War Age, but, you know, this mode's okay, too. Gets the job done. I think, though, Germany needs to catch up a little bit here. They need to make sure that they're... Yeah, see, this is a problem. Germany's queuing up this town center way too much, and they're not queuing this one up at all. If you're going to have multiple town centers, you need to keep their queues of villagers going constantly. That's the whole reason we have multiple town centers. Yes, it can be a defensive building to help your villages garrison, but it's also a booming tool that if you don't use it, you're going to be far behind your opponent. Totally behind your opponent. Yeah. I have a feeling that Blackdragon at this point has an admiration for the Essen stalwerk card, which is this one, because I see he's producing steel guns, his heavy cannon, from the krupp factories for free, which this building, the krupp factory, does. It produces artillery for free, and you can choose what that cannon is throughout the game. It can either be like your falconet, your culverin, your mortar. It could be the steel gun. It could also be the mobile arm, or the for our Panzer, which is actually an artillery unit Romania can train, since that's considered to be like a nation-state artillery. So yeah, it's kind of interesting to see that overlap in rosters there. And funny enough, Romania can actually also make falconets themselves too, called foot artillery. Foot artillery just being a new name for it, right? Now the stats of the appearance change. Yeah, definitely. But it looks like Romania is not going to waste any time. The treaty has ended, and they're going to go for some combat here. Here's some loyal Calras. We also got some patriotic Vanaders, which is the guard upgrade for the unit. Also the foot artillery too. So here is one of those Romanian falconets at play here. And once they send this card, the Rezita works. Not only do they get one with the shipment, which you see here, they can start to train those from the artillery foundries. However, once you send that card, you can no longer make your super cheap mule artillery anymore. It's a trade-off card that basically, you know, says goodbye with the old donkey cannons and say hello to the new shiny European falconets for wiping out infantry with. Yeah. And I think sometimes it definitely helps me out to have the foot artillery instead of the mules, and sometimes having the mules is better. So it's definitely a nuanced situation. It's never one size fit all, because sometimes you might feel like Falc's over artillery, that's always the upgrade to go. Sometimes it's not. So you have to definitely plan that stuff out appropriately. One thing I know, it's pretty interesting here, is actually the fact that Germany, score-wise, is ahead of Romania, even with all that inefficiency of macro that I was talking about, the slower progression of the Might-Scaring houses, the lack of booming at 2 town centers, even though Germany is kind of being negligent with the whole economy and everything. Germany is such an OP civ to the average eye that they can still have a score better than that of their opponent, who's doing much more, tactical things, really. Yeah. It's kind of funny how that all works out in the end, 100%. All the while, Germany's still... Oh, wow. So where are they getting all these other steel guns from? So they're queuing them up from the factories and the krupp factories. So that's 4 queues of steel guns going all at the same time here. And now Germany's way too late. They're starting to get Might-Scarens now. Not only were they missing out on the free villagers, if they don't build quick enough, they might not get all these steel guns out of the gate before the free queue ends, Thing you gotta notice is if you miss that queue and you don't have enough pop for that steel gun to generate, it starts off at the queue all over again. It doesn't wait for you. In the 5th edition, it waits for you. Wars of Liberty and Legacy, it's not that forgiving. So yeah, you gotta make sure you have enough population for these cannons when it's reaching the end of that cycle, that queue. Once you see the blue completely vanish, it's too late if you don't have enough pop. So you have to stay on top of that stuff. Really necessary. I think he just missed a can right here. Yeah, I think he did. If he did, that's pretty sad, man. It's free stuff. You don't ever want to miss out on free stuff. Free stuff is free stuff. Why would you ever want to not get that, Also going heavy on upgrading the line infantry as well, which I find pretty interesting here. Well, wait a minute, no, this is actually long-range combat, so this is for the skirms and the early skirms. Alright, the volunteers. No needle gun is certainly concerning here, especially with the deck that large and abnormally large. You should definitely have your needle gun to allow these Maykov for line infantry to just shoot faster against the Romanian units. As for Romania, though, what's Romania doing? So are they... Yep, I think they're just playing the long game here, and they're going to just... Yep, now they're getting the hunting upgrades. They're probably going to get livestock upgrades for the geese. Just getting all the technologies, so the Imperial Age is like a shoe-in to research. Again, Order of the Star of Romania. This is the Royal Guard upgrade for the Kalaras, essentially. I believe it gives it more attack, is that right? And it basically gives the Kalaras a charged attack. So they can actually do more damage while the charged attack is active, and then it goes back down to a standard number. That Royal Guard Big Button is a requirement to get your Guard and Imperial Age upgrades for the unit too, so you kind of have to get it even if you didn't want to get it. And you can actually get it, like I said, from Age 2. You can research all the military technologies you want from Age 2 onwards just for a more expensive price. So he could have technically gone that in Age 2 for much pricier cost. Instead, he's gone in the proper age, so it's much cheaper. See here, the charged attack, Sarge Rosior. It's 62 hand damage versus the standard 41, which is down here. So what happens is it'll do 62 damage, and then all the other hits will do 41. Until I think like a minute or so, and then the 62 comes back again. Right? And that's what makes it such a formidable unit at that point. The Kalaras going right for the steel guns, trying to break Germany's artillery edge here. I think this is actually kind of a cool strategy by Germany. You just sit there and they lock in a bunch of steel guns during that treaty, and when it's all said and done, they have so much artillery that now Aladdin has to build a strategy around it now, or else he's gonna die. I think what you do is Romania at this point is you start to make the mountain artillery, which I see them doing. You know, they're making the mountain artillery. The mountain artillery, just a nation state or a Balkan culverin, right? It does look like the heavy cannon because it kind of does, right? And that's sort of why I think that, well, this is an interesting history story for Wars of Liberty. So what you see here to be the steel gun used to actually be the artillery of the Balkan civs, called the Schneider Danglis gun. And this here obviously used to be the heavy cannon of Europe, right? So they did this swaparoo recently in one of the earlier patches, not this one, where they swapped the models around and gave them new names, basically, right? And while the mountain artillery was, then the Schneider Danglis was a culverin, it used to actually be the heavy cannon of the Civ, right? And the Balkans didn't actually have a culverin. I guess because of balance reasons and how nasty the heavy cannon was for that Civ, they decided, hey, let's nerf this thing down to a culverin and just give the Balkans more things to work with, right? Instead of just being exclusively anti-infantry, right? Yeah, pretty much. Let's see. Line infantry and steel guns, they're blasting through the cavalry, you know. That's the one downside. The cavalry asses had such low HP that you can blast through them pretty easily if you're smart, you know. And as a result, the steel guns are actually going to dominate on the anti-artillery now, because now there's nothing protecting them from their range. Yeah, this is an interesting build by Blackdragon, you know. I feel like I could probably do something like this myself, and I'd probably change a few things around for treaty. Like, I would have gone needle gun for the line infantry, because I feel like you need that better rate of fire on their shooting to protect your other units, you know? Would have made sure I got my manor houses up quicker, because the earlier you could get that villager economy, those extra 20 bills, world of difference, you know. Possible that Blackdragon could have done this like 5 to 10 minutes earlier. Should it be, you know, stuck to the economic plan a bit better, and also making sure he queues up villagers in each town center, not just one, but each town center. That's another thing Blackdragon needs to work on. It's making sure, hey, I'm queuing up villagers at each of my town centers instead of one, because that's the whole reason I have multiple town centers. The whole reason I go with the siege planner is so I can actually reach that magic number of total villager pop limit quicker, or build limit, you know. Note that it is smaller for Germany because some of that villager population is factored into the krupp factories, which cost 5 population as well. So the real villager build limit for Germany is actually, I believe, 84 villagers. Yeah, I think so. Something like that. I could check right now, though, to confirm that. Yeah, it's about 84 villagers, right? Because you get up to 20 krupp factories, which in total, well, you can have 3 krupp factories, right? So it's like 84 plus 15 is, again, 99. So 99 villager economy for the Civ at large. So yeah, that's the math for you. Oh wow, Romania's just totally caught off guard by all this. I'm surprised, because I would have expected Aladdin to be more of a seasoned veteran here. But no, he didn't seem to be ready for Germany, you know. Not even an optimal Germany, just a Germany in general, you know. No needle gun. Did he get his upgrades on the line infantry yet? So he hasn't gotten any combat cards activated yet. So just run-of-the-mill Royal Guard musketeers and heavy cannons versus, you know, your Civ, and you're having problems with it. Looks like Aladdin is getting a bit of a handle on this, but at what cost, and is it too late? I think it is too late, yeah. Still one more steel gun, and you still haven't cleaned up the job yet. You're still running into problems. Overall, just a general issue for Aladdin, you know? He should have seen this coming. You know, he already came from an FFA with Blackdragon. Should have known about his dirty tricks. Yeah, I'm assuming they finished up that FFA game, right? Yeah, he should have known that what Blackdragon was all about and should have known, hey, I need more culverins than that. You know, I need like 20 of them. Maybe what you could have done is even just got a bunch of culverins by themselves just to take out his steel gun advance. And then get the skirmishers to kill the line infantry. That could have been a fair compromise, but he just didn't do anything like that. You know? This kid is literally riding you because he's taking advantage of all these steel gun queues for free. And you're just not killing him quick enough to make that queue suboptimal for him. Because what can happen is if you start killing him quickly, that forces him to go back onto the lighter artillery like the falconets, because those produce quicker from the krupp factories than the, you know, the steel guns do. So if you kill steel guns near instantly, you deal with the big threat there and you force Blackdragon to play a different sort of game. I see a bit of a defense here with the Star Fort though. It's going to stall him for a couple of seconds, but he's going to have to somehow take out this steel gun here. So what's going to happen is the steel gun's just going to outrange this fort by about 2 and slowly flush it down. So you need to get these Vantori or whatever you're going to use, and you need to shoot this can down right now. Not that it's going to help you with the R1s coming out. That's your other problem. That is your other problem. Note, Germany's actually going Imperial Age now, so they're already going up the Imperial Age. And they're going to go up with the Field Marshal. I think the Field Marshal gives you artillery, right? Like 2 steel guns. If I'm right. Yep, 2 steel guns. I called it. I knew it. And now this man, by now, he loves his heavy artillery. Only bad thing, though, is the fact that you missed the free queues on these because of that. So yeah, bit of a bummer. Are we going to see a World War I age by Blackdragon to seal the deal? That would be a kind of an interesting option here, for sure. That would be pretty fun. Definitely be pretty fun. Only problem is the lack of coin, though. That's the only thing that's holding Blackdragon back from getting a great warage. But the thing is, never mind. Yeah. I think the issue is Aladdin has just so many villagers left, peasants and gypsies included, that yeah, it would be kind of hard to essentially get that great warage right away, you know? So yeah. How many of these? So yeah, it still has most of the Romas still. Ending in the Rossiori. Upgraded Caloras. Shrimping in some Uhlans. Swiss Prussian Uhlans, jawohl. Yeah. This is a really good shipment for Germany in general in like competitive games, because these Uhlans are 1 population, mind you. So yeah, they can be pretty impactful and very low on your housing population. A bit of congestion here. Sorry about that. Yeah, I mean, at this point, when you have that much heavy can, like a building is just a quick takedown. Just no doubt about it. It's just a quick takedown. Comanche horse archers may as well. I mean, you got like full map control at this point. You got Aladdin, Juanito hiding there underneath his tortilla blanket, trying not to get destroyed at this point. So yeah, of course you can just spam out all the names you want. with the native technologies. That's probably the thing I would do. You know, when you can get the natives is like the finisher. This map has good ones. Yeah, I don't see Eldon carrying this fight out much longer. This is not pristine right now. You know what I mean? This is looking like a GG situation. Just waiting to happen. Just waiting. I see it. I see a GG any second. This poor Juanito just doesn't know what to do here. I think if he got to that Imperial Age and he just deployed a bit better, maybe, you know, he could have knocked back Germany a bit. I feel like with this Germany, you get past the initial wave of steel guns, you might be able to clobber him. I don't know, because that definitely doesn't seem like he manages his deck very well. And if you make his units suffer too much, I feel like you could get an eco advantage up on with Treaty. Because I don't see any Reefridge in his deck ever. I don't see any Royalman, Cigar Roll, or Textile, none of that. Not even Eco Theory. And I think that's how you beat Blackdragon. Just have more eco cards and use them. Just make yourself spammable and attack, like, spammable and amassable, right? So make your economy really good so you can keep sending in units. Also get your training upgrades so the units come out quicker. And I think that's kind of how you offset this whole steel gun play by Blackdragon, you know? Like, you should be able to do Calras for like endless, like 20 minute endless Calras. Constant queued out in the stables, and that would be the way that you finish off the steel gun threat. You know, that would be the way to do it. Oh, yeah, this, if you did this earlier, as Aladdin, that would have been the way you deal with this, you know? But because you waited too long, now you don't have the coin and the food to keep it up, right? If you could keep this Calras spam up for longer, that would have been fatal, and that would have wiped out all this stuff. Sad, but true, you know? Let's look at post-game stuffs. Romania's less... Well, Germany always gets more resources, that's a given. But Romania was definitely very close, though. Actually got more coin. Very impressive. Yeah, steel guns just ripping through everything here. You find a way to deal with the steel guns, it would have been... This post-game would have been flipped on its head in terms of kills, I believe, right? Could have just gone the skirms you needed to wipe out the line infantry, and then you would... you know, take Blackdragon off of his game, but you didn't do that, so this is where we're at, you know. Germany always doing better in the graph. I feel like, though, Germany could have been up here a lot sooner. Like, it could have been a big straight slope like that if they just kept up with their house production. That's where things went wrong. It's also, yeah, this kind of goes back and forth against Romania, because keep in mind, every time you get a market upgrade, like Farmer's Market or something, that gives you XP as well. So yeah, really, at this point, it looked like Romania was ahead in the shipments, and then later on, it looks like Germany kind of gained an edge as they were starting to win. Just to see sort of that progression, you know? Just something interesting to point out. Hope you enjoyed this treaty 20 minutes, right? I don't think I've ever done a treaty 20 minutes before in either D or Wars of Liberty. I've done a treaty, I believe, 40 minutes. I've done that before. I've never done a treaty 20 minutes. So let me know with the shorter treaty how I do. You know, I want to know if in the short treaty format if I do a good job at, like, explaining the stuff to you. You know? And if you want to see more cast game content of any kind, send me your recordings, you know. I know the Wars of Liberty multiplayer Discord is a great place to send me these. You could send them to me privately too, you know. DM me on the Wars of Liberty server. Say, hey, I got a bunch of record games I want you to grade for me. Put on your channel. I will do it. So I won't ever hesitate, you know. But okay then, if that's all, you know, see you in the next casting game I'm going to do. Sign off now from this one. See you later then.